This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
What if I told you that there was a generative AI program that combined the best of all these worlds, right? Like something that could do text to text and text to design and text to photo and text to video. And what if I told you it was also a program that you probably already use? Well, that magical AI program already exists, and it is Canva's AI Magic Studio. And I'm so excited today to be talking about that. So we're going to talk about that and a little bit more on Everyday AI. So welcome. My name's Jordan Wilson. I am the host of Everyday AI, and Everyday AI is a daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like me and you not just learn what's going on in the world of generative AI, but how we can all actually leverage it as well. So if you're listening on the podcast, thank you. As always, make sure to check out the show notes. You can come in and join the live conversation. And to our live stream audience, thank you as well. We are technically debuting this live, but it's pre-recorded because sometimes we have very smart people from other parts of the world that 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time doesn't always work out, such as the case as our guest today. So I'm excited to talk today about Canva's AI. It's amazing. If you haven't used it, like, why the heck haven't you? If I'm being honest, I've used hundreds and maybe even more than 1,000 different generative AI tools. And Canva is probably one of my top 3 most used tools. If you're not using it, whether you're a small business owner, whether you work in a corporate setting, it is by far one of the most flexible, robust, and powerful AI tools. Yeah, hopefully I got your attention with that. All right, so it's not just going to be me blabbing on. I'm excited to bring on our guest for today. So please help me welcome. Let's see if we can get him on there. Here we go. All right, Danny Wu, who is the head of AI products at Canva. Danny, thank you so much for joining the Everyday AI Show.
Hey, Jordan, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I've been waiting to get someone from Canva on the show. I love the product. But first, before we dive into all of that, Danny, can you please tell everyone just a little bit about what you do as the head of AI product at Canva?
Sure. So at Canva, I work with all of our different teams and all of our different groups that's building magical AI-powered products and features. And then lead our teams in just developing all of the magic, like our Magic Studio, and help bring like the AI, helping AI superpowers to life for our community and users.
That's great. So one thing, and I don't even know if everyone has fully explored what's inside Canva's Magic Studio because there's so much. So I'm going to go ahead, if you are listening on the podcast, always come back and check the live stream because this is a more visual episode. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe pull up on the screen here a little bit of Magic Studio. So Danny, maybe can you just kind of walk us through a little bit about what all is inside of Magic Studio and what can these different kind of features or programs within the Magic Studio do?
Yeah, of course. So Magic Studio is our collection of AI-powered tools. And what we've done with Magic Studio is to create an all-in-one platform that harnesses all of the capabilities and all of the powers of AI. Things like Magic Write, for example, that allows you, that's a writing assistance tool that allows you to very much like give you creativity superpowers as you're writing anything from a blog post, maybe a script for a podcast, or maybe a press release, and get AI assistance in helping you write better and faster. But as I mentioned, like with the all-in-one platform, this influences just about every single part of Canva. It's very, very visual. It includes generative AI image features like Magic Media from not just images, but also video, as well as things that help you create videos with Magic Design for video, with things like beat sync and animations, and of course like workplace productivity tools like Magic Switch, which is our new and upgraded Magic Resize. And I'm really excited about Magic Switch, for example, because this allows you to transform between all the different all of the different design types in Canva. So, Canva doesn't just do things like flyers or social media graphics, but it also does presentations, it also does documents, it does so much more. And this lets you seamlessly, truly convert between those doc types in just a few clicks. And in those designs, you can create like beautiful visuals, like for example, vibrant city jungle, like you see here with our Magic Media, as well as the images and Magic Morph, of course, which lets you apply essentially textures to create some really, really splashy and prominent text. And in addition to that, it's not just about creating, but it's also about editing, which is such an important part of the design process. So if you've ever had an image where it's cropped to a certain level and you just wish there was a little bit more to the side, there's a little bit more to the bottom, Magic Expand will let you essentially turn an image and expand the canvas and canvas using generative AI and getting whatever aspect ratio and whatever size and dimensions you want. We also have upgraded Magic Edit, which lets you select a portion of the image and choose to change anything you want, which is super, super powerful. You can start interacting with photos, like the objects, like the Canva designs. You have an image, you can grab the subject of the image out and then edit it just like any other Canva element, which again is like super, super powerful. And that's not to mention things like Magic Eraser, that's you remove objects. It's just by just scrubbing it through. Background Remover, which is one of our most popular Canva features that works on both photos as well as videos. And Magic Animate, which I talked about earlier, that lets you just like click a button and will create beautiful animations that matches your content, that matches your theme without any effort at all.
There's so much in here. We could literally talk, I think, Danny, for hours just about all of these different features. And if anyone like out there, whether you are a creative person or whether you aren't a creative person, that's one thing I love about Canva. And full disclosure here, right? So I've used Adobe for 20 years, right? But I don't even open it anymore, especially after, the features like we just talked about here with Danny, like background remover, magic eraser, all of these things. So Danny, I'll ask you this. What is, especially with all of these new Magic Studio features within Canva's new AI offerings, what would you say is the one AI feature that maybe people either don't know about or the one that they maybe don't use, but they definitely should?
I think if I had to pick just one, I would probably have to say Magic Switch. So this is something that we've been working for. It's actually been part of Canva's vision for many, many years, and we've been working on it for quite a long time. And with the powers of developments of generative AI has finally became possible. And so we've always wanted to kind of build an interoperable and just kind of essentially cross-transformative suite of docs so that you're not constrained to thinking in terms of one design type, just a presentation or a doc, but for the boundaries between all of those different design types to start to blur and start to kind of essentially merge seamlessly together. And so Magic Switch is essentially our first step in this direction, and by allowing you to convert things like a presentation or a social media graphic into a doc with your custom instructions and prompt, that allows you to start working in what we see as increasingly this future world of operating beyond specific design types and just operating on design as a concept itself.
Yeah. And it seems like, and if you are kind of listening on the podcast, I have the Magic Switch feature up here, and it's actually amazing. And it is so powerful to be able to, because a lot of times, you might spend so much time, getting a graphic or, something just right. And then with the click of a button to be able to put it into different aspect ratios, to be able to, maybe it was a full page, kind of a flyer type, and then to be able to put it into a small social graphic is huge. It's such a time saver. But Danny, you brought up the concept of going from, kind of a design and then switching it over to a document. It seems like to me, a big push recently with Canva is this push toward collaboration and being able to work, and going from a design and then changing that design into a document and being able to work on it with colleagues. What are the advantages to kind of when you combine this AI powered design capabilities with the collaborative features of Canva?
Yeah, absolutely. So we added collaboration, simultaneous collaboration to Canva a number of years ago, and we've really seen the usage of that take off over the years. Like especially when you're not working on design by yourself, or you're working in a team, you're like you're jamming on a project together, or you're brainstorming some new ideas. And with this, like with our Magic Switch, for example, like you might be working on a presentation and you might go, okay, let's I want to maybe turn this into a small like social media ad creative, right? I need a script, and to get all my key points. You can use Magic Switch to turn this into actually a script for a social media ad or a commercial actually, and use this as the starting off point. You can jam on this. It is just like any other Canva doc. You can jam on any client Canva design. You can jam on this live with your team. You can give feedback. You can then use all the tools like Magic Write together collaboratively to brainstorm ideas. So it's not just you're not just sitting in, I guess, ChatGPT typing together by yourself, but all the other people that's in your design can also see the outputs of the AI live while you do it, and it's just an opportunity for you to work together with your team on AI.
You know what? Let me ask you this, Danny. Who is Canva even for, right? Like I think early on, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, I think Canva, at least in my opinion, was maybe for creatives. But who is Canva for? Is it still for creatives? Is it for designers? Is it for everyone? Who would you say that Canva is for, and who can use it?
Yeah, Canva is for everyone. So like even in the early days, like what got me really excited, what led to me joining Canva was that kind of our belief that design is something that benefits absolutely everyone. You don't have to, you don't have to be a creative. And in fact, even if you're not kind of in the creative industry, you should absolutely be able to harness the power of design, the power of storytelling, the power of visual communication. And so Canva is for teachers, Canva is for students with Canva for education, Canva is for individual users making like a wedding RSVP or invitation. It's for a small business working on social media. It's for a large company working on decks and the strategy and financial forecast. It's absolutely for everyone.
It's insane. Sometimes I'll be talking to people, and at least for me, because I have a background in communications, marketing, advertising. So I've been using Canva since, longer than I can remember, if I'm being honest. And sometimes when I meet people who aren't using Canva, I just say like, why? Like it doesn't register in my head. But maybe Danny, what you could do is can you walk us through some maybe common business use cases, right? So let's say a small business owner, right? Maybe they have 50 to 100 employees, and maybe they haven't used Canva yet. So what would you say are some practical use cases for Canva? Specifically, how can they use these new AI features within Magic Studio to maybe grow, promote, or market their business?
Yeah, absolutely. So for a small, say 50 to 100 size business, like Canva's bread and butter, like we started off with a focus on social media graphics, and that's still very much one of our core focuses. So if a small business with like social media presence, then Canva enables you to create content, but also schedule the content. So across all our different socials, so you can actually create, posts in advance, can link your X and Facebook accounts, and go, oh, I have this new like announcement happening next Friday. I'm gonna get all my content ready, and that's kind of a very classic use case. And with Magic Studio, for example, like our Magic Design will let you create social media graphics even faster in just a few clicks. And something that we see in small businesses is that they often have people who are wearing many hats and you're putting on many roles. So maybe you have a dedicated copywriter, maybe you don't have a dedicated copywriter, but with Magic Write's brand tone of voice, you can actually really save what your company and your brand's tone is all about, and then let everyone on your team be able to use Magic Write to basically convert some text, no matter how boring or how bland, into something that perfectly sings your tone of voice. And that's something that's really, really great, if you don't have, even not a large enterprise with dedicated copywriters and dedicated press and comms teams that's there to do it every single time. And of course, this is kind of a smaller, not so mentioned feature, but translation in Magic Switch also lets you, if your business has kind of as audiences in different countries, in different regions, or maybe you just have users that speak different languages, you can actually translate all of your designs, whether it's a social media post, whether it's a presentation, whether it's a doc, into more than 100 different languages to help you communicate directly to your audience, whatever language they speak.
Yeah, the more I hear Danny talk about what Canva can do, especially with AI, I mean, I literally have been using Canva for more than 10 years. I use it every single day. And I'm pretty sure Danny has already mentioned at least 2 or 3 things that I didn't even know about. So it's like, I'm over here just scratching my head, what the heck can Canva not do? So I'll ask you this though, Danny, with all the different things, all the different features, right? So we talked about there's text to text, right? So you have your, some of those features, maybe if you're using ChatGPT or Bard or Anthropic Claude, that you're used to text, right? And then there's the text to image features, something like a Midjourney or a DALL-E, right? But then there's also text to design, right? So Tome or Beautiful AI. Canva does everything. So with that in mind, if I had to have you pick just one feature, one AI feature, what is your personal favorite? The one, or maybe the one that you even use the most?
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on GenAI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use GenAI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on GenAI.
It is super hard for me to give favorites, but I will give one. And the one that I use the most has to be Magic Media. That's something I think that's something that really that really sings once you combine the powers of text to image or text to video inside an all-in-one design platform. So whenever I'm creating a presentation, or whether even if I'm creating a document and I want to illustrate the point I'm making with a graphic, I might have an idea of what graphic I want, right? If I want to talk about, for example, innovation, I might want something to do with light bulbs. And I might want one graphic I actually recently created was using text to Magic Media to create light bulbs that were baking in the oven to communicate the idea of just allowing time for innovation. And that's something that if you go with traditional stock photography, if you go with existing assets that's been created, a photographer hasn't really shot a lot of light bulbs that's cooking in an oven. I mean, even if they have, it's unlikely to be, in your color scheme, in your brand's, visual identity. But with Magic Media, I'm able to actually use this all the time to just create new graphics, create new illustrations, and I feel like I've very much gained some visual superpowers that way.
Oh man, I love it. There's nothing cooler, y'all, than hearing someone that helps build the products that you use every day talk about their favorite parts of the product. Because now I'm excited to go check out a little bit more what Danny was talking about with that one. So one thing that I want to talk about, Danny, is maybe some aspects of Canva's AI offerings that people don't think about as much, right? Because I think the average person, they think design when it comes to Canva. They think maybe, flyers or social media graphics, right? But one thing that I think is, super powerful is the Magic Write feature, right? So not only can you kind of have that, text to text type, output that so many people are familiar now with, using programs like ChatGPT or Google Bard, but you also have the collaboration feature, right? So you can literally work with your teammates using a text to text generation and then design things in a live document as well. Can you talk a little bit about some of the use cases and just the power behind the kind of AI, different AI tools that work along in this kind of feature?
Yes, certainly. So Magic Write, the text-to-text feature was actually one of our earliest AI features. We launched that like all the way back in like more than a year and a few months ago. And the use cases of that we've been seeing and continuing to increase is very much like, first of all, people starting off with this during the brainstorm stage, and it's not actually always necessarily to create specific content that you want to do, but sometimes it's used to kind of explore the problem space. So if you're, for example, let's say if you're working on, I guess, like a communications plan for how to like announce a change to your customers, the customers who are a small business, then you can, we've seen people use Magic Write actually ask questions like, what makes a good communications plan? Like that's not something you literally write, but it's very much a way to ask AI and get some additional insights and get some guidance. And beyond kind of brainstorming with AI, it's also very much kind of a tool in every copywriter's tool belt that lets you, from things like refining paragraphs, just writing drafts completely, to finishing things off the conclusion. If you're not sure, if you've been living in this doc for the past hour and you just don't know what to write for a conclusion, it's something like all of these use cases are things that we're seeing. And I think the cool thing for us is like, I guess like we launched Magic Write as kind of a wide open sandbox, and then we have seen how people use it, and more recently we've added quick actions to our designs. We can say like make it shorter, make it more fun, rewrite it with just one click, and that's always something that we're continuing to work on, to just like kind of create all of these like quick AI workflows that help people who don't want to prompt or don't know how to prompt effectively still like harness all of these powers.
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? So something that just Danny, when you were talking, that popped into my head is the design feature, right? Like the abilities to, with text, right? With text to be able to create like an entire presentation. So can you maybe talk a little bit? And I think that people can realize and understand the power of that, right? Like if you're not a creative person, to be able to sit down and to type out 10 words and then to have an entire, multiple page presentation that made for you, that then you can go in and edit and fine tune. But I'm also curious on the other side of it, Danny, because you're also helping shape, all these different products and how they're built, especially something like that. What are the challenges of building something like that that's so robust, right? So what are the challenges, even kind of on the more technical side, of creating something as powerful as, being able to, design something from words?
Yeah, I'd be really happy to talk about that. So I think that we try to make Magic Studio and all of our AI features really easy and really simple to use, but there is actually so much complexity that has gone behind the scenes. And I think that if you look at Magic Design, for example, like a really simple way to do it would just be to take your text, what you're trying to create, and use that to generate more text, and then just basically shove this somewhere inside kind of a dummy template, and then just put some text here, put some images here, and that's generally kind of like the, I guess, a more like elementary or the more I guess first pass basic approach that like a lot of people have taken. With Magic Design, like we've we start with that, we tested it, and then we kind of realized, okay, this is good, but how much value is this really adding? Like, is this actually good enough? And is this something that you're actually really, really happy to use, I guess, that actually does, your design jobs to be done effectively? And so So we've had to, the way we build AI at Canva usually involves a lot of spiking, a lot of prototypes, and then exploring a lot of different potentially promising directions. Much of that doesn't pan out, and that's okay. But for the ones that pan out, it allows us to climb the ladder towards more powerful AI features. And we've done a lot of spiking, we've done a lot of different approaches, and built quite a comprehensive suite of technologies around design understanding to make magic design work as well as it does. So it's not just about adding text and images to some template, but it's also about teaching AI about visual aesthetics, about composition. It's also about annotating these things so that the AI itself understands, oh, this text box is like a heading, and this is what headings should have, and this is next to this text box, it's just a subheading, and that's what, and it should be connected to this. It's only through the combination of just connecting all of these parts together and building all of this visual understanding systems that we're able to make magic design. And it's still very much early days for all of AI, like we always like to say, but there's a lot of complexity behind the scenes. And I think also beyond the feature itself, so Canva is used. Canva is used by I think I'm a little bit with more than 170 million monthly active users. We are very much serving AI at scale here, and so keeping the system scalable and available and fast to all of our users is very much another challenge in itself that is very fun to work on, but also very involving.
Wait, so you said 170 million users?
That's right. Canva has more than 170 million monthly active users each and every month.
That's insane. So I'm wondering this then, because I'm sure you're able to get so much data on how people are, using Canva and what they're getting out of it. When it comes to the AI features, what are users using the most, in the new Magic Studio, because maybe that's a good thing if someone's listening, hey, you can just use all this data from 170 million people. And maybe that's where you should start if you're new to Canva's Magic Studio. So Danny, where are users spending the most time in these new AI products?
Yeah, so we're seeing adoption of all of our different AI features across things like Magic Write, which is text to text, and across our generative photo tools and photo editing tools. I think some of the more popular ones would have to be around the more visual aspects, things like Magic Media, things like Magic Edit and Magic Eraser are visual, which is not a surprise given that we are a design platform. And I think if you haven't, my recommendation would absolutely be checking out our new magical photo editor with the collection of tools from old favorites like background remover to the new Magic Edit. There's a lot to explore there, and we find that from talking to our users and from our usage data, we find that there's often a discovery phase of a user discovering this feature. They try once or twice, and then they come back a few days later when they realize, oh, hey, I could use Magic Edit to fix this photo I couldn't otherwise use, and they start becoming very much active and recurring users of the feature.
Oh man, that's amazing. And hey, if you haven't used Canva, or maybe you have an account but you're not active, Danny, I do believe even on the free plan, right? Because there's a very generous free plan, but then there's the Pro, Canva Pro, and Canva for Teams. But I believe even on the Canva free plan, you have a lot of these magic tools. I think you have even the text to video, the magic design, right? There's a lot of these things that even on a free plan you can use.
That's right. Yeah. So even on our free plan, we want everyone to be able to explore and use this generative AI features, even if you don't have Canva Pro. So we have a credit system where, as a free user, you get a certain number of credits that's different depending on each AI feature. And so and the other thing is that if you are a Canva Pro customer, then you have access to all of our AI features. We're not putting this behind an additional tier, we're not putting this behind an additional paywall, but Canva Pro includes all of our AI.
Wow. So here's my, because we talked about a lot, Danny, but I have to know, as someone who is helping build this AI that more than 170 million people are using, what's next? Because I think of Canva as a tool that is for everyone, right? Whether you are a designer, right? I work with top tier creative agencies that use Canva. And then I know people that don't have any creative skills and use Canva. So what is next specifically for Canva and AI when it seems like it can do everything already? So what do you focus next on as someone who's head of where Canva's going in AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think like what we see as kind of the most exciting is AI like being less about individual features, but actually becoming embedded into people and businesses workflows. So like an example I'll give is that like, within like internal comms of perhaps like larger size companies, like a lot of times you have to create things like communications plans when you want to announce a change. Maybe there's like kind of a restructure, maybe there's kind of a new product announcement. And that's something that takes up a lot of times of, internal communications professionals. And tools like Magic Write, Magic Switch can actually very much let people create customized workflows. So you might have a base template. This is like how your company's communications plans are. This is what all the content you have to include are. But then what we really see kind of AI developing is, and what we're working on is making it easier for everyone, like without any programming, without any AI expertise or skills, to be able to actually create these workflows with AI embedded in them, so that your everyday tasks you do 10 times a month just become so much easier, and you're using AI and it's helping you get your work done without you even actively and consciously thinking about it.
Jeez. I can't wait to see what's next. So what is, as we wrap up the show here, what is the one thing, because I'm sure that just about everyone out there listening heard something from you, just like me, right? I've been using Canva for forever. I use it, all of our graphics that we use for the show, our live stream, it's all done in Canva. And I heard even so many things I can't wait to go try. But Danny, maybe what's the one piece of advice that you have for someone that heard something from you today and they're like, wow, I can't wait to go out and try, this new AI feature from Canva? What's your one piece of advice that they can use practically in their business?
Ooh, I think like in a business context, and one advice, I know we didn't get to talk about this too much, but the advice that would definitely my top one to give is to very much kind of like look into your provider's policies around security and around security and health and data usage and privacy. That is just like even for individual users, like it is kind of a very much an important consideration. And the AI world definitely has a lot of different providers with different policies and different kind of different privacy policies and different ways that data can be used. With Canva, like we don't train on any design data. We don't use it for AI training. We don't use it for product improvement without your consent. And so that's part of Canva Shield. And I think that's a very important question to consider before like sharing sensitive or potentially proprietary information that might be used and might end up being regurgitated and appear like in an AI model someday if you don't kind of if you just kind of willingly and just like put your AI things on the top thing you find on Google.
Oh, so like that was such a good thing to add, because I'm sure there's so many people out there like, oh, this sounds like I can, build, a financial forecasting plan or, the next, quarterly earnings with charts and graphics. So Danny, I'm glad you brought that up. So we learned so much today. I'm so happy that you came on the show. And hey, if you are listening, make sure there's going to be some people from the Canva team answering questions in the comments. But Danny, thank you so much for coming on the Everyday AI Show. And you really taught everyone, even someone that uses Canva every day like me, how to create more magic with Canva's Magic Studio. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much, Jordan. It was great being here and love chatting about Magic Studio. Really, yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
All right. And hey, there's literally so much value in this one. So if you're like me, I'm going to be going through and re-listening to this once we're done. But go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. Yes, Everyday AI is the top AI-centric podcast there is, but we also have an amazing newsletter. So we're going to be breaking down literally everything that Danny and I just talked about, all of those tips, tricks, tutorials, things that you need to know. So sign up for that newsletter. So we hope to see you back for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.